My view on child labor, a sad reality. The reality of child labor in the world is complex and complicated widely across different sectors. During my childhood, I was exposed to working in rice field together with my younger siblings. I once used to sell candles in the cemetery so I could somehow help my family. Children engaged in labor can be found in various industries, including agriculture, manufacturing, mining, domestic service, and informal sectors. They may be involved in labors ranging from farming and fishing to working in factories or as domestic laborers. In my experience, despite it being incredibly challenging to work at a young age to help my parents get through our daily financial struggles and to support my studies, the harsh realities of working taught me invaluable lessons about resilience, responsibility, and perseverance. These experiences broadened my perspective, allowing me to see and understand the wider world beyond my immediate circumstances. However, despite the personal growth and insights I gained, I wouldn't recommend child labor. The physical and emotional toll it takes, along with the deprivation of normal childhood, outweigh the lessons learned. Child labor can have serious and lasting impacts on children, affecting their physical, emotional, and cognitive development in significant ways. It will be a scar for the child that he or she can remember, even in the adulthood years. Child labor can have severe consequences for children's physical, mental, and emotional well-being, as well as being traumatized in various ways. It can deprive them of education, expose them to hazardous conditions, and perpetuate cycles of poverty and exploitation, robbing them from the joy of growing up as a child. Child laborers are vulnerable to exploitation, malpractice, and trafficking. They may be subjected to physical, verbal, or sexual abuse by employers or others in positions of authority. In a gross event, it exposes children to hazardous working conditions such as exposure to chemicals, heavy machinery, or extreme temperatures which bring danger not only to them but to their family. Those things can lead to injuries, illnesses, and long-term health problems. Oftentimes, the child at a young age can stunt their growth and development. In preventing this practice, many countries have laws prohibiting child labor or regulating working conditions for children. International organizations work with governments, businesses, and civil society to promote policies and practices that protect children and combat child labor practices. These commitments lead to the global consensus on the importance of protecting children from the fangs of child labor. But the sad reality, everyone is facing poverty, often a driving force behind child labor, and even to its acceptance by the localities. Families living in poverty may rely to children to contribute to household income, and children aim to work to support their families. In some cultures, child labor is encouraged and established as a norm for the community. Subsequently, weak enforcement or non-existent laws can mean there are few consequences for employing children, thus encouraging the ordeal of the child. Despite legal efforts to combat child labor, There are challenges like enforcement gaps, lack of awareness, weak social protection systems, and economic factors that encourage children to work. In addressing child labor, it requires a multifaceted approach that includes improving access to education, creating work opportunities for adults at the most effectively, enforcing laws, providing social protection, and raising awareness about the rights of every child will be a catalyst for the betterment of child protection against child labor. Ending child labor requires a comprehensive approach enacted by the governments and adopted by businesses, communities, and down to each individual. As we try to strengthen and strictly implement laws that prohibit child labor, we can essentially advocate it as well. Governments need effective mechanisms to monitor workplaces and penalize violators, thus encouraging the community to help. Policymakers should include awareness about the negative impacts of child labor on children's health, education, and their future. Child labor is a big fight. It is already deeply rooted in the system, but addressing its root causes consistently and implementing targeted interventions, the world can be safer and more nurturing for a child to thrive and grow and have a better future.